Galasrinie, and I'm going to be showing off the Blood Will Tell speedrun today. I'm excited to get to show this run because the game is relatively obscure, but it's a lot of fun, so I'm happy to get to show it off. Yep, that's it. Blood Will Tell Tezuka Osamu's Dororo. Okay. So, we're going to be doing any percent, and I'll let you know when the timer starts. It's going to be up here. So time will start when I press story mode, which will be in 3, 2, 1, go. Thank you. Okay. So this is Blood Will Tell Tezuka Osamu's Dororo. So this was released on the PlayStation 2. It is an action-adventure game, and in the title, Tezuka Osamu is the creator of the story. So the story of this game was created by him. He is a very well-known manga writer as well as artist. He was the man that created Astro Boy, so you might have heard of Astro Boy before. So that's the same person who created the story of this game. The story was also created into TV shows as well as books, and the story was originally written in the 1960s, so it's pretty old. Now, the first part of the game is just a tutorial, so I'm just going to be doing the tutorial. But it'll allow me just to explain a little bit about the game and the story of the game. Because it's an action-adventure game, the story is a big focus of the game, but you won't really see it that much throughout the course of the speedrun.
Now for battle practice. The sword has a light and the triangle button.
So the story is the main character that you play as. His name is Hyakimaru, and you might notice that he doesn't have arms. He has 2 blades in his arms, and there's a reason for that. So Hyakimaru's father is a leader of Japan, or one of the lords of Japan. And in exchange for great power, he sacrificed the body parts of his firstborn child to the fiends of Japan, or kind of like the demons of Japan, in exchange for power. So as a baby, Hyakimaru's body parts were created into demons, and he was raised without body parts, and he was discarded as a child and then raised by the narrator who is talking during this tutorial.
Excellent.
And now that he is old enough, he is going on a mission to retrieve his body parts back that were stolen from him by the fiends. And that's the whole premise of the game.
Press the L2 button. See how the weapon in your hand. Excellent swordsmanship.
Yep, and there's several different ways of combat throughout the game that gets explained in the tutorial. He has a sword that he can carry as well as the blades in his arms.
Finally, I will explain how to use the weapons I've built into your body.
Yeah, and the man that saved him is like a medicine man or a physician who made prosthetic body parts for him as well as weapons for him to use so that he can defeat the fiends to retrieve his body parts back. He has a gun in his arm, and he also has a cannon in his leg that we're just about to see, like this. Like that. Yep.
I call it the guided leg.
So Hyakimaru has a lot of different ways to
very powerful,
get rid of enemies, which we're going to be seeing throughout the course of the speedrun. This run doesn't have any glitches or skips currently that have been found. There is one tiny skip that saves about 30 seconds, but I won't be performing it in the run. It's just going to be completely glitchless.
Use them often,
Yep.
Hyakimaru, for they will serve you well.
And this game is pretty big. There are 48 bosses in the game, but for any percent, we're only going to be versing about half of them. So he's only going to get half of his body parts, but that's okay. We can still complete the game, and that's what we're going to be doing for any percent. There's a category for all fiends where he retrieves all his body parts, but for this run, we're not going to be doing that. So, for early game in the speedrun, one thing that you're going to be seeing me doing is hitting enemies like that while going past them. It was explained a little bit in the tutorial, but where he said by defeating fiends, your weapons will level up, which is true, but not entirely, in that you don't have to completely defeat the enemies. You can just hit them and it will allow your weapons to level up. Now you may think that hitting enemies along the way would actually be slower in a speedrun, but it is a lot slower if you don't level up your blades. It makes fights excruciatingly slow, so by just tapping the enemies along the way and getting the levels, it will make the boss fights a lot better and faster. Now right now the game is in black and white, and there is a reason for that. It's not going to be all in black and white, but right now it is. So Hyakimoto hasn't retrieved any of his body parts just yet. We come across our first fight, which are these little bugs. There's 7 of them. And I do this move where I do attacks and then spin, hoping to hit the bugs while spinning, just to make some distance towards them, but they're not always in the same spots. You can, but also hitting them, they can disappear faster when they die. There are a lot of cutscenes in the game that I won't be watching for the speedrun, but there is a lot of story and a lot that goes on, so yeah. But we won't be really getting to see that much for the speedrun. So now we come towards our first official boss fight, which is on the right hand side of the screen there is a map, and when there's an objective it will have a star on the map, like a white star. And this is the first boss that Hyakimoto fights. And what we do for the fights, particularly in the early game and throughout the run, is we want to be behind bosses, because bosses will take more damage from behind. And particularly for a boss like this that is tall and upwards, we want to try and get them in such a way that they are continuously turning. If you are in front of the enemy, they will most likely do attacks, which is slow. You want to be able to just wail on them and take them out. That attack ability when you jump and then do the attack where he spins around, it does a lot of hits. So that's going to be really useful. And by defeating him, we get vocal cords. So now, Hyakimoto will be actually verbalizing more in combat. He does grunts and stuff like that now, which he didn't do before. So, like, as he gets body parts, more things in the game get opened up. Just like little features and things that, happen. He comes across a bridge where there are these villagers getting harassed. So he's going to help get rid of the enemies that are here on the bridge. They're like these little skeleton dudes. Try and hit multiple enemies together. There's going to be 2 here and then 2 at the end of the bridge. Leveling up is also really important. There are 3 here. They are also positioned very far apart. Typically, if they're together, you can use a cannon bullet to hit them both together, but they were pretty far apart, so I couldn't do that. But that's okay. Now on this bridge, we meet Dororo. So Dororo is the main side character of the game. She is like a thief, and she's now going to be tagging along with us. Initially in the game, she actually wants to steal your swords, but she becomes our friend. She becomes more friendly as the game progresses. With the fiends here, I want to hit them a little bit before progressing onward. You can also hear her like fighting stuff as well as we're traveling along. And now we come to the next boss in the game. And this boss grabs Dororo and is taking hold of her, so we have to like rescue her from them. This boss's name is Humunculus. They have a very big head. Gonna be using this move again. So with bosses, they often have a weak point, which you'll know if you hit because there's a white flashing. And for this boss in particular, it's their head or in front of their head. For a lot of enemies, it's their horn or just like one specific spot, but for this boss it's the head. Now what we want to do here is this. This is called a spirit move. This was explained a little bit in the tutorial. It's the bar that's blue underneath the green health bar that fills up. We want to use that, and it can do a lot of damage. You can actually clear out the whole health bar if angled correctly on the weak spot, but that's okay. And we take them out. Now after this boss fight, Hyakimaru gets one of his eyes. So the game opens up, and from being black and white, the game will now be in color. Like this. Yeah. So that was the prologue. After each chapter it asks you if you want to save, but I won't be needing to. Now we're on to chapter 1. Very good. But there are quite a few loading screens in the game, just because of skipping all the cutscenes, the loading screens seem a lot longer. Because there is a lot of story that progresses along, and each chapter has like its own region of Japan that it visits, where they have their own side stories. But yeah, now we're on to it does a bit of explaining of what you can do with Dororo. So on the bottom right hand corner there's a health bar, which is Dororo's health bar, as well as a little symbol of a fist in a red box. That means that she's in attack mode. You can put her in other different modes where her objective is to find items or search for stuff in the area. Because this is an adventure game, there's actually a lot that you can explore, like lots of secrets and things that you can find. Of course, for the speedrun, our objective is to just keep progressing, progress the story, and get to the end. But that's, yeah, one thing about the game. We're going to keep her in attack mode because, surprisingly, Dororo is really powerful. She's even stronger than us, so in fights, she can be a really big help in defeating enemies and bosses really fast. So we always keep her in attack mode. Because in a speedrun, when enemies die faster, the run goes faster, especially in one where there's a lot of combat. And that's a lot of the games that I like to speedrun, so yeah. Keep her in attack mode. Going up here, there's going to be more enemies to hit. I'm going to keep an eye on when I level up. I always want to keep an eye on that during early game, because it's really important. Didn't level up there, which is usually where I level up, so it means I'm a little bit late in levels with how I've been hitting enemies, but that's okay. We got it there. We got 2 levels up there. That's pretty good. Very good. Yeah, at the bottom left, when you level up, it will tell you how many levels your swords are on, which is also a thing to look out for with speedrunning. There was another enemy that drops down there, so I never try and hit them. There are these like crows there. A lot of different enemy types in this game. Lots of different fiends and yokai enemies. Just keep going along. There are rocks positioned throughout the game that have items inside of them. This one here has a spirit candle, which gives spirit up. That's going to be important for the next boss because we're going to be wanting to do that spirit move, which actually will do a lot of damage, hopefully. The spirit move is a bit hard to control, but when controlled well, specifically on weak spots of enemies, it can do a lot of powerful damage, which is going to be very good. So now we're heading into Chapter 1, and the title of Chapter 1 is Yudai. Yudai is the main antagonist of this chapter, I would say, yeah. The main villain. What happens is we stumble across her and she ties them up. She locks them up below to get killed and eaten, but instead of getting eaten, we're going to have to verse the fiend here in the well. So this fiend's name is Scourge, or Scourge. I activate it here because his tail is the weak point. I'm trying to position it in such a way that he will take a lot of damage. I want to stay on this side of his body. He will always go up on the wall. I'm going to use the gun in Hyakimaru's arm if he will aim directly at the boss, which he wasn't very good at doing. And killed him. Very good. That fight was really good, actually. I'm very happy with that. If you can kill him before he even gets off the wall, that's superb. Very good. Now, in the game, you have also little sections where you play as Dororo herself. Because she's a thief, she has like these kind of sneaking around kind of missions where she's trying to find out information and what's going on. She's traveling under here and gonna investigate what's happening around here. Often her segments don't have a lot of combat, but she does have some ways of fighting. There are these little traps that I want to make sure she doesn't get squished by. There's also these heads that spit out fire, but we can just avoid them. This little contraption here makes these platforms appear, and then we just have to jump across. But yeah, her combat is very much punch and kick combat. She can dive through enemies as well. Like that. Typically, her dive will stun an enemy, which is very good because then you can just wail on them. Also, hitting enemies when they're dead makes them disappear faster. This escalator, or elevator, starts going up and now she can go onto it. She goes up and I try and do an uppercut just as I start seeing the roof to try and hit the trigger a little bit earlier. Just a tiny bit. Saves not that much time, but I always try and do it.
Someone's there.
She gets captured. Very unfortunate, so we're gonna have to rescue her later. But now we play as Hyakimaru at what he was doing while she was traveling down under there. So this stone here always has a cannon bullet, so I always pick that up. And then we travel through here. Very good. There's quite a bit of walking and traversing through the levels. Right now we can't run because, well, Hyakimaru doesn't have his legs, which is the reason why he can't run, but we do get the ability to run a bit later, which helps with the speedrun. Right now he just does this soft jogging. But this game is, well, I find it really relaxing to run because I run a few other action games and this one is probably one of the more relaxing ones that I run. Just in the way that it is, and the sounds in the game are really nice to... Yeah. It's just nice. You just hit enemies while walking across, and we're going to be going into this bamboo forest. Over here. If there are any donations to read, you're most welcome to read some.
We have a $100 donation from Zumi, who says, "Yo, good luck."
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Zumi. That's nice. So in this forest, we are now following this troll that constantly says, "You want some?" while we're following it. And he sounds kind of evil, but he's not. He's actually trying to help us with finding something, which we will find once we get there. And while I'm traveling, I'm gonna just constantly be hitting enemies to level up the swords, make sure that they're not under-leveled for when we fight more bosses. Yeah, this guy is funny. He's very cute. Now, one thing that's really important with speedrunning is movement. Now, moving in this game can be a bit rough because you want to hit enemies, so you can't... It's a bit hard to go in a straight line, like from A to B at times. But I'm always keeping an eye on the map on the right-hand side because it will help me make sure that I'm not too far away from where I need to be. Also, it just helps in general also when you play casually, like to know where you're meant to be going. But getting lost in the game is not that bad because you often stumble across side bosses in the game. Because there are 48 different bosses in the game, but a lot of them are side bosses which are not required to fight. So often if you get lost in the game, you'll stumble across one, which is not always a bad thing because they're fun. But yeah. Now we're coming across here. There's this breakable bamboo. And he leads us to this shiny gold patch. We find under there that there's a heap of gold. Now the village is really poor. Someone's been stealing their gold and putting it there. So there's a big mystery. But we have to go tell the villagers, and the villagers right now are capturing Dororo, so we have to go save her. And it's this time sequence with this rushing music to make you hurry up and not take too long. But we'll be alright, because it's not going to take us 3 minutes to get there. And the little star on the map is the objective of where we need to go. So yeah, we're going to go there. But this map here is pretty big, so you can get lost. So just using the map to coordinate yourself is really important. More enemies spawn in. I get a level up, I get another level up, that's very good. These little green kind of bean looking things, or peas, little green circles, they're called Jukai medicine. When you collect enough of them, Hyakimaru will get a revive. You have to collect a lot of them to get a revive. So we won't actually be able to get that until late game. But that will help for just like some of the final bosses that we verse. So that will be okay. Now we're almost there. Now one thing about this game is that when enemies spawn in, if you are too close to them, they will stagger you. So you gotta really watch out for that, cause yeah, like that. They'll make you fall back. So there's Dororo, but we save her. Make sure she doesn't get executed by the villagers, yeah. Now we have to go back to the shiny place to show them what we found. What the troll was trying to show us. Because the villagers thought that the troll was evil, but he wasn't. He was trying to help them the whole time. So you can't judge people by their appearance. That's what it teaches you. So we go to this shiny spot, and there's a boss here that we need to fight. And his name is Hell Crusher. He looks pretty scary, but he's not that bad. We're going to be trying to get behind. If he does that move, I want to use the spirit ability behind him. So enemies take more damage from behind as like a general rule in the game. This spinning move does a lot of hits. Multiple hits means more damage, and we can take him out really fast. The worst thing that boss can do is jump around and teleport. But thankfully he didn't do that. He only did it at the start, but it was okay. Now from defeating that boss, we get our esophagus. Yay! It's always like a guess the body part that you'll receive. It's always the same though, but if you've never seen the game before, it's just kind of, yeah. So now Yuda is not very happy that we've found the money that the villagers had lost. And we wonder why. Oh,
The troll is...
Yep, the troll isn't the demon. He was trying to help us the whole time. We're going to be playing as Dororo again for another kind of sneaky mission. She didn't make it that far last time. We're going to be going through the same area, but she's going to actually progress a bit more into the manor, into the building. So we will get to investigate a bit more. She goes down here. And similar to before. And this song that plays is kind of like her theme song because it plays for like, I think every part that you play as her, this song will play with the funky drums. These fall down. Now there's a bullet here, which I'm going to be picking up, a cannon bullet. So the items that Dororo picks up during her segments, she can actually give to Hyakimaru when you return back to playing as him. So we want to make sure that we have cannon because for one of the bosses that he's going to be versing, that's going to be really important. More enemies spawn here. But Dororo can take them out with ease. She just dives through and gives them a punch. And they're gone. Now, I'm playing on the European version or the PAL version. Typically for speedrunning, you don't run on the PAL version. But for this game in particular, it's a bit different because this game allows 60 hertz. So it can be on par with the American version and also the Japanese version. They're all pretty much on par with each other, which is really good for a speedrun because it doesn't matter which version you own, you can play any of them. So that's really good. In the American version though, there is a bit more dialogue and Dororo is a lot more vocal during combat. She'll go, Dororo kick, Dororo punch. And for some reason they didn't have that in the European version. But they did in the Japanese version, except she talked in Japanese. So it's just like these little differences that don't really mean anything in a speedrun sense, but just in a like casual setting or just comparing the games, it's just a funny thing. The little differences that that are a thing. Yeah, in the European version she doesn't save them. And every time she defeats an enemy in the American version, she'll go, "Don't mess with me." But she doesn't say that in this version that I'm playing. Unfortunate. Because I don't actually own a American copy of this game. Because if you're a collector of PlayStation 2 games, you might know this, but this game is actually really hard to acquire now, and it costs a lot of money. I was thankful enough to have a beautiful friend in England who helped me with acquiring this game. I sent him money to so that I could purchase it from England. Because acquiring this game in Australia costs about 400 Australian dollars now. And the American version is even more than that, so yeah. But I got to acquire this game for a lot less, so I'm very, very thankful. Thank you, Yorkie. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be able to play this game right now, so big shout outs to Yorkie. Now what we've been doing is getting these keys while exploring the manor as Dororo. And we've been doing all of this to try and get into this one golden door. Now we have the golden key, so we can go do that. Which is this way. This way. This way. And just with talking about the different versions, the Japanese version is the most acquirable because it's a lot cheaper to acquire. They made a lot more Japanese copies of this game than English copies. But yeah. We'll get to show it in English today, so that's good. So we get this arrow or bow. I think, yeah, it's like an arrow. And Dororo takes it. Uncover the secrets. And now we go back to Yudai's bedroom, where it will progress the story more. Just keep running. There's gonna be enemies that spawn here. I dive through them because the active hitbox will hurt and stagger Dororo. We don't want that happening. We go here and then we can progress onward. Cool. Now that boss that we fought before, Scourge, or the big kind of bug lizard thing, he didn't die. We're gonna have to verse him again. Yep, so we've followed the Scourge's trail, which are these green blobs on the floor, like the green slime, which I'm pretty sure is his blood from when we actually fought him. Yeah. Have to be careful when these enemies spawn in. If I'm too close, they will stagger me and make me slow. Getting staggered in this game is really painful. It's in speedrunning because it's very slow. You fall over on the ground and then recovering from that is painful. So we don't want that happening. We want to try and avoid being close to where enemies spawn in. They sound like missiles when they come in. Oh yeah, like that sound. These enemies that spawn in, they're really, really bad because they charge at you. And they will not stop until you're like really off where they're charging to. So they can be very punishing, but we try our best. We go back into the forest. Except now we're going a different direction from what we did before. We can actually go straight through the middle, which was something that we weren't able to do before. Now the objective is, yeah, through the middle of the map, as you see there. There are these flying enemies that come in. Don't bother too much with them, they're okay. They're very fast, those ones. Keep traveling through here. Now we made it to the fight where we verse him for the final time. We're gonna really get him this time. So there's two phases to this fight. The strategy for both of them is pretty similar. Now what I'm doing here is, even though I'm jumping and attacking, I'm moving in such a way that the hits will hopefully like connect a lot. And you can tell if they're connecting because his body glows like a reddish orange color. I don't like it when he runs away. And I stay on the left side because if you are on the right side of his body, he will most likely do a jump attack, which is really bad. But if you stay in the front to the left, he will keep doing the attack where he pokes out his tongue. And that's an attack that's very good to take advantage of and get a lot of hits out. So I want to stay in front of the head. Got a level up, that's very good during the fight. Another one, very good. Now I'm going to be doing a lot more damage. I'm going to try and not use the spirit move. I'll only use it if necessary. He does this move where he shoots out these purple pieces of bamboo. He also has a second tongue attack that he does when his health gets low, which goes from side to side, which has a larger hitbox, but we can take him out with speed by keeping the attacks good and connected on him. Very good. That was good. If you can do fights, like in the early game specifically, or especially where you don't get staggered and fall over, that's good. That's very good. Avoiding the attacks and getting the attacks on. Very good. Now the secret has been revealed that Yudai has been terrorizing the villagers and taking all their money to control them. And that's not very nice, so we're gonna show her what's up. We're gonna go and get her. Yeah. So we have to go and confront her. That's what we're gonna do. So we have to travel back to her bedroom, where she will be. Now because we're with Dororo again, you can see on the bottom right hand corner there is her little punch symbol, as well as 2 rice balls and a cannon. That cannonball, because we currently only have 4, that will make sure that we have 5. We'll make sure that we have enough for the next fight that we're gonna need it for, which can be really mean. Hopefully it won't be mean, but it's usually mean, so I don't expect much. Here you always jump because they always do those fire attacks. And now we go straight to the fight.
You die.
Yep. So we find out that Yudai is one of the fiends that has one of Hyakimaru's body parts. So we're going to defeat her. Her days of terrorizing the village are over. So this fiend's name is Ogress. Now, we keep near Dororo at the start, not only to take her items, but also because she will not move until she can see the boss as well. And she can be a really big help in fights, sometimes. So we want to make sure that we have her available. Okay, we got hit, that's okay. We might get hit again, just because that hitbox is really big. Gonna stay away from her, and we try and hit her in the back, in the head, because that's where the weak point is. It can be really hard to judge how big that hitbox is. It's pretty massive. She can also move around a lot. Specifically, her second phase is going to be a pain. Just really want to try and connect these hits in the correct position. Yeah, Dororo can be a real help. Her punches actually do quite a bit of damage, especially the one where she launches her body through. Don't know if she will do that though. We're going to get hit because we were just too close. She's starting to fly, which is not good. We're so close to getting her in phase 2 though. We just need to remove, that. Get the yellow part of her health bar down. And now we just have the pink part of her health bar left. So we start phase 2. Straight away I'm going to try and just get some little bit of damage on her, if anything. Use the gun, and then now she will start doing lasers. I can interrupt her with a cannon at the start, which is very good. Now she's going to come around here, and I want to do... What is she doing? This. Hopefully she will stay. She did not stay. I'm going to get hit by that, probably. Yep. Now, will she stay or will she go up? She is staying, which is good-ish. She is flying away. No. Okay. So this is really bad. Usually you want to defeat her before she even gets a chance to do this, because she will not come down. Yep. And this is why it's painful. I had a feeling this would happen on the marathon, but that's okay. This is not actually unusual in runs for this to happen. She's coming down, which is good. Sometimes she can stay up there for what feels like forever. She's almost defeated though, and whoop, we got her. Very good. Okay. So that's Ogress. Her fight is a lot of time lost because she can be really random, and you just kind of hope that she does what you want her to, but she doesn't always. So she's one of the boss fights early game that just you lose a lot of time to. But now that we've defeated her, Hyakimaru gets his left leg, which means now we can run. Yay, we can run for our speedrun, which means our movement speed is going to be a lot faster, which is good. We want to be first. So that's what we're going to do. So now we have the ability to run. We don't want to save. We don't need to save. We can just keep going. And now we are on to chapter 2. We've mainly been doing combat with the swords that are in, or like his arms, but now for the speedrun we're going to be using a lot more of the sword that he can carry. He also can do attack moves where he's just holding a sword in his hands. And that's what we're going to be doing a lot more for, especially this chapter. So there are these dogs. Want to hit them from behind. They always, when they spawn in, they will run and charge at you. Hit them from behind. You can tell it does a lot more damage with the visual and the sound effect. These ones that spawn in, I was a bit too close to the spawn point, but it's okay. Try and stagger them so then I can get behind them. Using my camera to make sure that I'm behind them. They turn around really fast, so you gotta watch out for that. These dogs come in as well. There's also gonna be a fire wheel who is not... Yep, there he is. He is literally a living hitbox because he's on fire. They just said, you know what? Even if he's not attacking, you're going to get damaged or you're going to get staggered. Yeah, which is a pain. And there's going to be 2 of them here. Now, because this is on the PlayStation 2, there is a bit of lag that happens sometimes when enemies spawn in. But we just do our best. Get rid of him. This is actually going pretty well so far. It can be a lot worse if the fire wheels get you. But yeah, that was really good. Now this is chapter 2, Dragon Brood. Dragon Brood is the main antagonist of this chapter. Who am I gonna meet? I'm actually gonna take this rock here. This rock has a rice ball, and rice balls are a way of healing. So just to restore a bit of my health, I can crack open that rock and get a little bit of healing there. Now we stumble across these zombie enemies that have been cut through with a sword. So someone's been here slaying them, and now they're zombified. What we're going to do here with these zombies is I'm going to use the spirit move going into them to hopefully clear out a lot of their health. Sometimes they can block. They do have a blocking that they can do. Hope they don't do that, but yeah, see, he can block. It's not very nice. We take them out, try and hit their body while they're dead so that they disintegrate faster. So then, yeah, we can progress on. Another thing that's a part of the game is you can pick up swords. So right now we've just had the sword that we get by default, but we're actually going to be equipping swords of higher levels now. So we went from a level 3 sword to a level 6 sword, and that's going to help us with doing a bit more damage. And we also acquire some more powerful swords later. The swords also can grant you more combo attacks as well. More attack combinations that you can do, especially for the later swords in the game. So this is where we first meet Dragon Brood. But we don't really see him as evil right now because we don't know that much about him. One thing about Hyakimaru that's a part of his lore and story is that he is not on a mission to defeat humans, he's on a mission to defeat fiends. So whenever he comes across a human that he has to verse, he will use the blunt part of his blade and not kill them. He'll just like disarm them and make them tired kind of thing. So that means that you can't use the blades in your arms and you can't use your spirit ability. So you just have the sword in his hands. For him, for his fight, we just go to his back, directly do attacks to do a lot of damage. Don't stay in front of him because you will get staggered. And that fight actually went really well. So that's really good. Now we play as Dororo. Dororo is now going after this mysterious man because she thinks, wow, his sword is so cool, I want to steal it. So she's now going off to steal his sword. And well, what's she gonna do? How's she gonna steal this guy's sword? Well, we're gonna find out what her method is in just a minute, at least for the speedrun. So we equip Rocks. Rocks is just the weapon she always has, and it's infinite. She has an infinite supply of rocks. So what she's gonna do now...
That's him.
Yep, that's him. We're gonna steal his sword. And what's she gonna do for the speedrun? Well, she's gonna throw rocks at him. Now, for this part, if you get too close of him, it's kind of like, you know that game that children play? I can't remember what it's called, but if you get too close, he turns around to see you. But if you are far away from him, he doesn't turn around. And because you have rocks, you can throw them at him, and he doesn't even react. And then we steal his sword. Ta-da! Yay!
Yeah.
Very good. She's so happy she got this sword, but this sword isn't just any sword, it is a possessed sword. So she's in a bit of trouble now. So Hyakumaru has to go and help her out. So Dororo has a fight, and her fight is a bit rough sometimes. Depending on how it goes, of course, like a lot of boss fights in games. But first we have to run to her. This barrel here will also always have a cannon ammunition. These dogs will always run at you too, but that's okay. Thankfully they don't do a lot of damage. And before we see her fight, we're going to get another sword, which is in this rock. So we go from a level 6 to a level 8. And we have a bit more attack power from acquiring that sword, which is going to help us out for her fight. So we find Dororo and she's harassing one of the villagers. She has this possessed sword, so she's currently possessed by the dragon brood. And she looks like this. So the strategy for her fight is we want to stay behind her. And you want to be fast. Oh, fuck. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Now, she does this raw move, which is really good. She might flip behind, that's okay. She does the roar again. We go behind her. 2 light attacks, 2 heavy attacks. We want to try and attack her before she turns around. When she gets lower health, she starts to do a bit more attacks. She can also throw her blade. The camera will want to lock onto the blade, so I want to lock off her. And then, yeah, try again. But you can actually get her into a loop where you're constantly behind her. She constantly tries to jump back to get you, but it's really tough because the timing is really tight and she can move around a lot. So yeah, her fight can be a little bit painful at times, but that was okay. We did good. Yep, that's a plant that can grab you. That's okay. Now we go to the next fight, which is going to be in this area. And we're going to be using the swords in Hyakumaru's arms because they're going to be able to hit this boss a lot better. And this boss is a giant fire wheel. So similar to the smaller enemy types, it is a huge hitbox because it's on fire. And it loves to look at the player and it loves to make the camera all bad like that sometimes. If it charges at you, I want to run away. The way that you do damage to this boss is at the head. Oh goodness, this is very this is a very peculiar place for me. He's stuck in the corner. You can shoot the gun at him. If you shoot him enough bullets, he will stagger. He's being very bad. When you hit them enough, he staggers, which is very good. If he turns like that, it's very bad. Very hard to get attacks on. I'm going to be using the gun a bit more. He didn't stagger at all there. We want to chase. This is a bit of a cat and mouse kind of fight because you chase him. For some reason my attacks just are not coming out well. Pressing square. He's gonna come over here. I do have spirit meter, but I'm not using it just because it's not very good to control when the enemy is moving around a lot. If they were in a corner right now, I would use it, because it does a lot of damage. Let's try and hit him with the gun a bit more, especially when he's going away like that. Hyakumaru is not very good at aiming. Okay, there we go. That's another fight that can be really finicky because the whole body's on fire, but you'll have to do damage to it at the same time. It's a bit rough. Now after defeating that boss, he gets his kidneys. Now with each body part that we acquire, there are stats that go up. So that's also like as you progress through the game, Hyakimaru is also getting stronger, which is something to take note of. We have put the sword in his arms back on. We go in here for a cannon ammo and progress forward.
Tanosuke.
That's his sister. She hasn't quite grasped that he is obsessed with the dragon brood and has been possessed by it and has not become a very good person now because of it. But his human name is Tanosuke. Yeah. And we're gonna now have to verse him again. The final fight of his has a lot of phases, and I think it's probably the toughest fight up till this point, in my opinion, because you can't do a lot of damage to him at this point. Even with the better swords that we've acquired and with trying to do as much damage as you can, he still is really hard. And he has a lot of different moves that he can do. So, just gotta try our best. So now we have everything acquired because we're doing a duel to the death. Even though he is, well, he is human or was human, he now has been possessed by the fiend and is accepting of it in his storyline. So there is no hope for him, so we have to kill him. You do enough damage to him there, and then it goes to the next part of his fight. In this section, it's in a little bit of a different area that was a bit more up. And it's like a swamp. Well, not a swamp, but it's like you're moving through glue. So your movement is very hindered. Now you might be wondering why I do a lot of jump attacks. That's because Hyakimaru's mobility through the air is actually a lot better than what it is when he's on the ground. Especially here in this area where it's really hard for him to move. Yep, if you're too close to him at that point. So it really helps with getting behind him where we will be doing more damage. Dororo is helping me a lot during that fight, so that was really good, especially because her punches and kicks were hitting his back. So that was really good. So now there is a little phase here where he does a lot of teleporting, but if you stay around the area where he starts his teleportation moves, you can actually get him to stay. That move where he does a charge is the best move that he can do because it has a very long duration and you can get behind him. And now this is the final phase of his fight. It's rather long and it can be very time consuming in a speedrun setting. So you gotta really watch out with what he's doing. You don't want to get staggered like that. Get the attacks on his back because that's where you're gonna do the most damage. Notice he's teleporting, which is not good. That's unfortunate, he teleported like that. Well, he does a jump move where he teleports upwards and then goes down. You can punish him on the ground afterwards, or even during that move. Okay, he did that move where he moved a bit. Dororo is being a real champion. She did so much damage. She was really good there. Good on you, Dororo. Sometimes the AI is in your favor. So we defeat him and he gets another body part. We defeated the main antagonist of the chapter. And we get his spine. And he always does these funny like grunts and groans whenever he acquires a body part. And yeah, that's the end of that chapter. If there's any donations or anything you'd like to say, you're most welcome to do so now.
We do have some donations. We have $25 from Natona. You want some? Some money towards Game on Cancer, that is. Keep it up, Gala. You got this. Put this money towards making Spyro a cute pink color.
Aww.
We also have $20 from Aeon Frodo. Good luck to Gala and the rest of the runners for this marathon. Let's get this cricket gear on. And finally, we have $50 from Club Who. Late night crew, let's go. Put this towards soft man wearing cricket gear.
Nice. Hopefully we'll get the cricket gear. That'll be fun. So now we're at chapter 3, which is a mountainous setting with lots of plants, lots of trees, lots of rocks. So that's what we're going to be seeing a lot in this chapter. And a lot of running. There's going to be a lot of moving around in this chapter. Yeah. But thankfully we can run now, so that'll help us make things a bit faster. So we arrive at this temple, and there's someone that cries out in distress. So we're going to go and see what's happening in here. In the shrine. One thing I really love about this game is the ambient noises in the game. They're very peaceful and very, they're very nice. I like them a lot. So we find out that it is the shrine maiden that cried out. She's getting harassed by these soldiers, so we're gonna help her out.
This sword was...
He says this sword was only meant to shed demon blood, so we won't be able to use some of the abilities that we can do in combat. Only the sword blade, but that's okay. There's going to be 30 soldiers that we have to defeat. Now, the worst thing that happens in this fight is stagger and falling to the ground, like that. And one thing about humanoid enemies in this game, especially in humanoid fights, is they often come out attacking. Even if they're not fully spawned in, they will be trying to attack you, which makes them really dangerous, especially in groups. In this fight, there can only be 4 enemies spawned at once, which is something to take note of with how enemies spawn in, because there's going to be a limit, so keeping an eye on that can help you out with speedrunning, because you want enemies to just be constantly spawning in. Sometimes in fights, there are these pots that drop. So that's an invincibility pot, which means that our character cannot be staggered or damaged while it is active. His body glows yellow. There's also a pot that's blue and a pot that's red that can drop. The red drop does attack and the blue pot does defense. But the invincibility one, which is yellow, is the most useful in speedrunning, because it's not the damage you take that makes you slow, it's the stagger that makes him fall to the floor where he needs to recover back up. We want to be constantly attacking enemies, we don't want to have to recover. Yeah, so that's where a lot of time save being acquired. So we run up a bit, run up the mountain. There are a few more different enemy types that get introduced in this chapter. We get a cutscene here where the villagers are saying that they farm so much rice, but they don't get to eat any of it. Very sad. Someone's been taking all their rice. We run around here, and then there's going to be another cutscene that we encounter where we see the villagers bow down and we see the magistrate.
Listen.
And also Lord Daigo as well. And we need to find the magistrate's house. So the magistrate is the one that's having control over the village. Now the reason why I'm taking a detour this way, as you might notice on the map, it seems a little bit odd to be going this way and not the other way. But the reason is because there is a sword here which is a lot more powerful than what we currently have. So we're going from level 8 to a level 15. And this is going to help a lot. It is actually worth it to take that detour to acquire this sword. There are swords in the game that can be drops from enemies, but of course drops are random. So yeah, it can be a bit hard to get them. We are going to try and go for one drop in this run, which will be a bit later. It happens in this chapter, but just a bit later in the chapter. There is a sword drop that you can get right at the start of the game, but your drop, like percentage on if you will get a drop, is based on your luck stat. And at the start of the game, you don't have a lot of luck. So it's very, very, very hard to get that sword drop right at the start of the game. But we will try and get one in this chapter. We'll just have to see if we get it or not. If we don't, it's okay. But if we do, it will save like minutes upon minutes, which will be very good. Well, now Black is playing as Dororo. And she's gonna suss out what's happening here. She's gonna follow the magistrate because he's being suspicious. Jump over here. And then over here. And we go to the left. He's traveling somewhere, so we're following him.
Looks like the map.
Yep, she says, looks like he went in a cave, which is very suspicious. Why would he be going in a cave? So we'll just have to see what's going on. So there is this puzzle here where there is a weight platform where we have to put these boxes on to open the door. So she's gonna push these big boxes. So we push that one twice. Because you don't actually have to have the whole box on the platform. This one we're just gonna have to push it twice on the platform. But yeah, we need to go a total of 146. So each large box is 50, and then we're going to be using smaller boxes, and also Dororo's weight as well for the platform, for the puzzle. It's a little bit of a puzzle. So there's 100. I wish you would push it, that would be great. Push. There's 10, then this one's 10, and then we have Dororo's weight as well. And that opens the puzzle. Yay! Very good. Now we can go on. So meanwhile, while that was happening and she was following the magistrate, we get to see what was happening with Hyakimaru. He's gonna be versing a boss here at the shrine. Again. So this boss's name is Twin Blades. It is very similar in appearance to the first boss of the game. That fire move is the worst move that he can do, and he loves to do it sometimes right at the start of the fight. So what I'm doing here is 2 light attacks and 1 heavy attack with the sword jumping, because when you're doing jumping attacks, the attacks actually come out faster. Also, like, the recovery of the attacks is a lot shorter compared to if you do them on the ground. So for his fight in particular, we do this jumping move. I didn't get my jump out. Try and get him spinning. If you hit his head where his horn is, you get extra damage in, and then we take him out like that. That fight can be really fast if he doesn't do any fire moves. Yeah, if you can get the really good attack positions in. And we get ears.
My ear.
My ear. Yeah, he gets his ear back. After that fight. Now we get to play back as Dororo again. What we're going to do here is a little bit of a trick. So, the thing about these little knives is that you can actually platform on them. So if you throw a knife on the wall, she can actually land on them like that. So we do that to make it up on top of there. And that's also going to be a bit useful for later on. There's a little wall that you can go up to save a bit of time. Oh, she travels under here. We have to hit this over here. There's a fiend that spawns right next to it, which is very inconvenient. He can be a bit of a bully. And we go to find that the magistrate is in here eating all the rice. All the villagers' rice. He's been eating it all. What a glutton. Very mean. So we're gonna have to show him what's up. Now Hyakimaru is gonna come and investigate the cave as well. That's what we're gonna do. Those plants can be very annoying if they hit you, so sometimes you just hit them while going across so that they don't bother you. Now, before we go into the cave, there is someone guarding the cave.
Out of my way.
So we have to get them out of the way. It turns out that they're a fiend, and this fiend's name is Fire Golem. He started off with a spitting move right at the start, which is unfortunate. So he has a weak point right on his head. So if you hit that enough, you can actually prevent him from doing attacks, and he falls over to the back. I did jump there. Get behind him. We do a 5-hit attack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 3 light attacks and 2 heavy attacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we do the jumpy attack on his head and take him out very fast. Now from defeating him, Hyakimaru gets another body part, which is his stomach. Very good. He got his stomach back. Now we go into the cave to rescue Dororo. Because when she found out that the magistrate was eating everyone's rice, he put her in a cell, in like a jail cell. So we gotta make sure that we get her out of there. Gotta go around this way. There's always an enemy here that charges at you, so you jump to just avoid them. When that fiend's a position that can be really mean, but that's okay.
You alright, Dororo?
We go and rescue Dororo. Now there's just some fiends here that come out of these cells as well. I don't know why they're in cells, but they're there. We have to defeat them. These ones have a bit more health. Dororo's being a champion and helping me defeat them. That's really nice. And we clear out the 8 enemies that were there. Now these pots here, there's only one of them that opens the door. The other ones have surprises in them, such as enemies or explosives. So we just hit the right one, the correct rice cooker, and then you can progress onward. So we find out that the magistrate is actually a fiend that looks like this. He looks a bit like a mushroom. He looks rather funny. But yeah, we're gonna have to defeat him. He was one of the fiends that stole one of Hyakimaru's body parts. So we'll have to go in, yeah. He has a boss fight, but it's not quite a boss fight. It's just a bit goofy. It's not very difficult. It's just a little bit annoying if he decides to do a certain running move. But we'll get him.
Mio.
So we come here and see that something's happening, but we have to defeat the magistrate fiend, which the fiend's name is Gaping Maw, like mouth, because he's a glutton. Sometimes he just walks around like this. He actually does have attacks that he can do. When he gets low enough health, he will teleport to either left or right. He goes over here today. Let's do this. He might run. Yep, he is running. So when he runs, it is not good for the speed run. He looks very funny. But it's very bad for our speed run because it means we can't... We just have to run after him and try and do attacks. Thankfully, he didn't run too far. But as he runs away, he regains a little bit of health. But we are very powerful, so we can take him out. Now, we find out that the whole mountain is a fiend. And we have to defeat the fiend's arms. So this is one of the arms. We have to get these rocks off the arms. I struggled to even get any of them off. This is the best move that he can do. Thankfully, he gave it to me. Because you can get the rocks off his wrist. He's going to do it again, which is very good. Good. Awesome. Cool. Very good. So that was the arm of the mountain. And there's going to be another arm of the mountain that we have to defeat as well, which is similar boss fight, but it has a few extra things added to it. Now, Dororo runs over here, and there's a lot of mist, so she gets Hyakimaru to help her with clearing the mist. Clearing the fog. Just hit the plants so that they don't disturb us or grab us like just then. But anyway, so there are 2 cannon bullets in these rocks. The maximum amount of cannon bullets you can hold is 5. So since I had 3, I wanted to collect those. So now we have more cannon. Specifically for this second arm, we want to make sure that we have enough cannon bullets just in case if certain things happen. Now we're going to run over here. Yep. He can do this move where he just shoots out fireballs. If he does that, I'm going to use the cannon to get damage onto them. You can go underground and then come back up again. I got some rocks off, so that's very good. Comes back up. I'm going to keep shooting a bit. I'm hoping that he will do the move where the hand slides on the floor. But that might not happen. Can't trust enemies to do what you want. That's just the way of speedrunning. Gonna shoot another one. Now I'm out of my bullets. We're just gonna have to... Yep, okay. That's fine. Jump up and let's get that damage. Good. Cool. Nice. That's the second arm defeated. But you might notice that we're not getting a body part when defeating these bosses because it's the whole mountain that's a fiend. So, yeah, we got the arms, but we have to hit the rest of the mountain. So we're gonna have to do that as well. So there's this rock here that's spitting out a lot of mist smoke, which is the mist that is preventing Dororo from seeing where she's going. So we just hit that enough with quick attacks while jumping, and yeah, now Dororo can progress a bit more onward. Oh, that was very close. I almost fell off there, but thankfully that didn't happen. Now, you might notice on the map, there's a lot of enemies clogged right here. There's all these trees and they're not letting Dororo pass, so she needs even more help. So Hyokimura is going to have to get rid of some trees. Or fiendish trees from the mountain. Find the base of the roots. So that's what we're going to have to do. But before we do that, we have a part of the run where we're going to try and get a drop. So I'm going to be doing a certain thing which you do in the game to try and get drops from enemies. And it is this. So, okay, so I'm going to try and get 20 if I can. Now I want them to drop a sword. Don't know if we will get it on the run, but we're going to try our best. These ones that are yellow actually don't drop it, so I can just defeat them. This guy is a little bit strange because he's keeping charge on. That's okay. So we go to our next one. That's okay, because they have more health than what I can do. Okay, see if we get anything. It's okay to do it because you get it's okay. This is a yellow one, so I can't even get the drop from it that I'm wanting. There is a sword that drops from these ones that have a yellow tint to them, but it's not the sword I want. See? Nope, we didn't get the drop. And then I think this is a yellow one. I can't quite tell. That's alright. Try again. Okay, let's have a look. That's the cutscene that plays once you defeat them all and get closer to the edge. We didn't get the drop today. Very sad. So there's a sword that can drop from them that is called Sword Cutter. It's like a yellow sword, and it's a lot more powerful than what you currently have in the run. If you get that sword drop, it saves like 3 or 4 minutes because you carry that sword for quite a while before you get a better one. And yeah, not just this chapter, but the next 2 chapters we would be using it for. And it would help a lot with fights, but we didn't get it this time. That's okay. Luck is not on our side today. Maybe next time. Yeah. We defeat this tree, and now Dororo can travel a bit more because those branches won't be in her way. I'm just going to be doing a bit of running here, so if you have anything you'd like to say, you're most welcome to.
Yeah, I'd just like to take this opportunity to remind everyone who we are and what we're doing here. So we are AusSpeedruns, a group doing speedrun events to raise money for charity. For this event, we're raising money for Game On Cancer, a charity which funds early career cancer researchers who are working across all areas of cancer research. If you'd like to donate, you can go to donate.ausspeedruns.com.
Now, so this upcoming part is a lot of movement with Dororo, but there are gonna be these fireballs raining down from the sky that are actually coming from the mountain. The mountain is trying to interfere with us moving around. For this first part of running around, you get to see where the fireballs are going to be landing because there's like these red circles. But when we get on a little bit, it is possible for them to just fall down without really telling us where they're going to land, which is very trolly. That can happen. Especially up this hill, like they'll just fall without really telling you that they're going to be falling like that. So we're just going to try our best to maneuver through. There's a few hills along the way. When I was first learning the speedrun of this, I did die here quite a bit because I didn't really know what to do. But the other runner who runs this, Timmy Toby, he says that if you stay on the left side, you'll get hit less by fireballs than if you go on the right side. And ever since I took that advice into practice, it has been a lot better. So, yeah. This is actually a really bit scary. Please don't die, Dororo. This would be really bad. Okay, thank goodness. That was good. That was fine. That was fine. Okay. Now we go back to playing as Yakimaru. So we go up the mountain and we find the mountain's eye. The mountain has an eye. So what are we going to do for this fight? Well, we're going to be shooting cannon bullets at it. That's how you defeat this boss. And one thing I want to do in particular is I want to make sure that I aim right in where the eye is, because you actually do more damage that way. If you hit the eye, like, not quite where the iris is, where the white part of the eye is, you do less damage. Once it hits a certain amount of health, its laser will start moving. There we go, that's unfortunate. It can be a bit rough with where the bullets of the laser goes. Oh, he's not at the threshold yet, that's okay. That's fine. I think one of my hits didn't do as much damage as I would have wanted. That was really good that one of these guys died because they dropped cannon bullets and I'm going to need them for this fight. Okay, let me see if I can do a really fast one. Just a little bit more health left. Oh dear. I'm actually going to pick up this bullet here because I'm going to want that for another fight coming up. We hit the eye and it's still there. Something's missing.
Is it dead?
He says, is it dead? It's not dead yet for some reason. There's something else that needs to happen. Now we play as Dororo. We hear this thumping sound coming from the shrine. And if we go to it, we see that there is this really big heart. So this is what we need to destroy now, to destroy the fiend that's in the mountain. So we have to go over here, and there are going to be these fire bombs. we have to equip them. Now, we need to hit the heart 5 times. And these bombs don't respawn until after you've used them, which is a bit of a pain. So we're just going to have to use these ones, go back and collect more. Yep, like that. We go back. Also, once you've used all of the consumable item that you currently have on, it will automatically put you to using her rocks. But we want to go back to the fire bombs. And have her run to... yeah, over here. Oh, that's scary. There we go, cool. And that's the mountain defeated. Yay! Very good. The eye goes away. He rips off his shit in that animation. And it's very odd what he gets. He gets his sense of pain. You think of all the body parts, you wouldn't want that one restored, but he gets his sense of pain back after defeating the mountain fiend.
Mio's final word.
And Mio, the shrine maiden, died, which is very sad. She died in that chapter. And now we go to the next chapter. Chapter 4. Now when I get to this part in the speedrun, I kind of think of it as like the halfway mark of the run, kind of. At least that's what it feels like whenever I do runs of the game. It's like the halfway mark. Yeah. Cool.
Southtown, Kagemichi.
Now this chapter revolves heavily around
Controlled by
foxes. And fox spirits and fox fiends. A lot of foxes are introduced in this chapter. Chapter 4 is called The Wall, because there is a wall that's splitting a battlefield here, I'm pretty sure. It's been a while since I've watched the cutscenes. But yeah, there's the wall right there, you see it. Oh, I stuck in here. Yeah, there's a war going on. We go here and investigate this wall. And then there are some enemies that spawn in that we have to defeat. Which are foxes. There they go. Demon foxes. Foxes love to move around a lot. Hopefully they stay aggressive and just try and attack me. That's what I'm hoping. Because they can kind of run away, and I don't want that because that means I have to chase them. Thankfully they were all very close, so that's very good. So there's 15 foxes that are on the floor, and then there's going to be five foxes that are going to be up the top of this wall that we're going to see. Jump up these platforms, jump down. Bit of a side-scrolling platformer here. Well, not side-scrolling platformer, just platforming when you go from side to side. Go here, jump again, jump up. And we make it to the top, and there's going to be 5 foxes up here that spawn in. There's 1, and then there's 2 back here, and then 2 that you can see on the map. They also despawn really fast, those foxes. Now coming up, we have a boss fight that can lose a lot of time, because she can be really mean. So this is Three-Tailed Fox. Reason why she is mean is because she can do this. She always does it first at the start, so it's fine, because this is just scripted. But when an enemy is far away from you, it makes it very hard for you to hit them. And at this point, we don't have a lot of range bullets and only had 1 cannon bullet. There is a bit of a manipulation that we try to do with this boss, is if you stay in front of the boss's face, she's not doing anything, that's not what I want, this is what I want. She does like this attack where she... Yep, sometimes she can do that. That's not very nice. Okay, this will be a bit slow. If she runs across like that too many times, it just is a waste of time. She can be really mean. I do have some bullets, so I just want to get any damage that I can on her while she's away. Will be a benefit. Trying to do this fight fast. But yeah, you can manipulate her so that she will do that attack if you're in front of her. But AI does not always behave. Yep, AI does not always behave. That's just something that you learn in speedrunning. That's okay. Now she's gonna come back again. Just try and be where she's gonna be. She teleported straight away. That's really unkind. Shit! Hello? Hello? This bust is a little bit strange. But we defeated her. Okay. Yep, so that was 3-tailed fox. We're also going to be versing a 6-tailed fox and then a finale of a 9-tailed fox, which is probably the 9-tailed fox is a fox that a lot of people have heard of in Japanese folklore. Now this fight is really scary. Not only because of the previous fight, you can have low health and stuff, but you have to defeat 40 of these guys, and they can overwhelm you very easily and do a lot of damage. I have lost a few runs to this fight, not because of stagger or whatever, but because you can just die. It's really scary. If they're all hitting you at once and you're just getting staggered and you can't move, it's very painful. Also, the way that enemies spawn in, they will want to spawn in attacking you. So this is a lot of management and a lot of avoidance. Yeah, that's a lot of damage coming out. But these invincibility potions are a godsend. They're very good. So now we get introduced to this new enemy type, which are these enemies with spears. They are very painful in that you can be far away from them. You can't hit them, but they can hit you, which is, well, yeah, the benefit of having a spear, obviously. Okay, overall, that was pretty okay. That was pretty okay. Cool.
Hey! I see.
Now, Hyokimaru finds these children. Dororo finds these children, and she's going to help them find their parents, or their home. So we're going to be playing as Dororo for a segment here. A lot of movement. Casually, you can, like, explore the areas a bit more. But because we're wanting to complete the game as fast as possible, we're just going to be going around to, make it to the end. To progress onward with the game. There's a cutscene here where it teaches you that Dororo can go under certain doors. Like this one here that like has a gap at the bottom. Then there's a cutscene here to tell you that the villagers have been possessed by fox spirits, evil fox spirits. And they now are like enemies, and they think you're a spy, so they also get out, spy. Whenever you go past them, they'll say that to you and try and launch themselves at you to attack you. But they're pretty harmless in the speedrun. You just run past them. They're not that bad to deal with. They're just funny to hear when you run past them. Go around here. And the map tells us the direction we need to go for progressing. which is always the same. It's just a good indicator to have in general. I dive past this guy because he can sometimes hit me. Now we go under here, like what Dororo can do. We go to the next area. But yeah, these maps here, like, it's so easy to get lost. If you just look at the map and all the different ways that you can go and go under, and like the way of progressing is not really clear when you first play casually. But because there are also like these breakable doors that you might not know are breakable when you first play, but they are breakable. And then once you know the way to go, you can just, yeah, do that for the speedrun. And we keep going. Because you would typically think like it would just be from point A to point B, but it's not. There's often a loop around that you have to do to actually make it to the place you need to go. She says that our house is just over there. She says it like it's so easy, but you have to actually travel quite a bit around just to get there. Because on the map, it looks like you just travel from there to there, or you just travel over the buildings to get there, but it's not that simple. It's a bit more than that. So there are these like little wagons that you jump on. And I can't just jump across to that area, it doesn't let you. You have to go around this way over the buildings. So yeah, like I said when I first started the run, there haven't been any major glitches or skips found for this game. Yeah, which it would be nice if there were some. Just because there's a lot of movement areas, so even just cutting out like a bit of movement would be really nice. But for now it's, yeah, pretty glitchless. There is some little skips that you can do, but they're not like out of bounds or like very game breaking. They're just really tiny things that you can do. So yeah, it would be cool to discover some more things for this game. So they find out that their parents are not home, so Dororo takes them to a safe hut for them to stay in. Yeah. Now we're gonna be playing as Yakimaru again. And he has the same amount of health he had after the fight that we just did. Sometimes you can have really low health after that fight, which makes this chapter a little bit scary. But there are some healing items we can pick up along the way. There's one right there on the top of that rock. So we're going to be taking that. There's a cannon bullet in here, which is really important for the next fight. We want to be using that. Quite a few soldier fights in this chapter in particular. Yeah, a lot of areas to run around. There's some bullets in that rock. Because we've used so much of the ammunition so far, like this is where you want to try and build all your bullets back and cannon bullets back and all that kind of stuff back, because we're really going to want that for the final boss of this chapter. Now we have a soldier fight. Another soldier fight. But because these ones are possessed, we can actually use everything on them. Okay, we're going to use this right here. He was blocking, which is not very nice. Okay, there's an invincibility drop. That's really good, which means that we won't get staggered and we can go ham on them. We also get introduced to archers. Archers don't have a lot of health. They are very passive and want to run away from you, like this guy, and hit you from a distance. It's very hard to control the camera sometimes to see what everything is doing. We have these spearmen left. Try and hit them from the back where I can. And that's the end of them. Very good. Cool. Okay. Because I lost a bit of health, we're gonna pick that one up. And we're at this bridge. Have to be really careful here not to get shot by the arrows. The crossbows that shoot out. The crossbow arrows that shoot out. There are some cannon ammo positioned around here that I want to pick up. Just for more resources. There we go. Just traveling a bit more. Knowing where to go on the map is really important. The enemies that spawn in here spawn in really fast. Have to be careful not to get hit by them. There's the foxes and the archers. Just keep running. Avoid them. When I can make it to the next area. There's a sword that we're going to be picking up in just a minute. A better sword than what we currently have. It's off to the right here in one of the stables. We pick this up before we go into the manor. So this is a level 23 fire sword. We pick up. To the left, there's more cannon ammo, so I want to pick that up before we go in here. And Hyakimaru actually meets his brother here. Yeah, well actually he met him last chapter, but he sees him here. And here we're going to be versing the six-tailed fox. We've versed the three-tailed fox, now this is six tails. So six-tailed fox does a lot of teleporting, which means you can lose a lot of time to her. The best move that she can do is her biting attacks, because you can get a lot of hits on her when she does that. If she just teleports around, that's the worst thing that she can do, because you can't even get any damage on her. Hopefully she'll show the biting attacks, but it doesn't look like she will. She can do this like laser shooting attack where she tries to look at you. So this is biting. That's one bite. That's two bites. And then the third bite, I want to stay on the side, because she will stay a lot longer that way. Teleporting. We're biting. Bites are good. One bite. Two bite, and then three bite. Try and do more. We'll have a look. Teleporting, lots of teleporting. That's not very nice. Okay, shooting. Shooting is probably the second worst thing she can do. Teleporting is the worst overall. This one is not too bad. Oh, she has a tiny bit of health left that we have to get rid of. Please don't teleport. I probably could just... There we... Oh, okay. Actually need a little bit more than that. Yep, and that's the end of Six Tails. And he gets his pancreas after defeating the... Now this next segment in particular, there is just a lot of movement, so if there's any donations that come in or reading, you're most welcome to just talk while I'm just moving around. Just whenever, that's totally fine.
We unfortunately do not have any donations, but I'd like to thank Elgato, who are our major sponsor for this event. It's fantastic to have them on board to support the Game On Cancer initiative. Elgato are a world-leading provider of audio-visual technology for content creators that make premium webcams, microphones, stream deck controllers, capture cards, and so much more, including the Wave DX microphone that I'm currently using, as well as the green screens and key lights that we've been using throughout the marathon.
Very good. Okay, so we have to go a bit around. So the objective here with moving around is I have to hit these colored fox statues. Because there are these barriers, these like spirit barriers that are preventing us from progressing onward. So we hit this barrier, we hit this statue and then it gets rid of that barrier. So then we can progress onward. Like that. Yeah, I might just rest my voice a little bit because I have to remember that this is like a 3-hour run and I can't just I can't just talk infinitely because my voice dries out. So while I'm just running around, I'll just chill out a little bit. Yeah. I should have brought my water bottle, but I forgot to. Yeah, so I'll just chill out a little bit. But yeah, just gonna be hitting statues, removing barriers, and then just progressing onward before we get to our next fight. That's mainly what I'm gonna be doing for here. One here I use with a cannon. That's the green one. Then we have a blue one. Use the cannon again because it's a bit higher up. Like that. Then we progress on onward. Whew. I did have some caffeine before doing my run, but I still yawn. Oh, that's okay. So there's a barrier there, but we can't get rid of it just yet. We have to go and do a loop-the-loop around. Have to run to the right here using the map. Yes, yeah. Very helpful. If I didn't have the map, this would be a lot harder for me to get around. Can't go to the left just there because there's a barrier. There are 2 statues we need to hit here. Two statues. Nice. Oh, there's this one. So that removes the blue barrier. There was a blue barrier preventing us from getting this next statue. Over here. Now that one will be removed. There's all these enemies that spawn in and try and get you. That guy always flies like that every time. to try and get you there. Now we have a boss coming up, but before we see them, there are quite a few resources in these barrels here, so we want to pick them up. And now we keep on moving. Now this boss's name is a humanoid boss, and his name is Snake Eyes Saborota. Snake Eyes, yeah. Now for his fight, there's something in particular that I like to do. So yeah, what I'm gonna do, when he does that move, I want to hit him with the large attack while jumping, if I can. And it staggers him from behind, but my positioning is very poor right now. Like that, that's what I'm trying to do. So you can actually stagger him a little bit for that. He has some other moves that he can do. I think I'm a little bit too close to him. But that's a very common move that he will do, especially when he's running after you. My attacks just are not connecting with him, which is really unfortunate. I think I'm a little bit too... Like, you do double jump to hit him, because that's how you avoid getting hit, but yeah, my attacks were just not connecting with him, so I was a bit too far away. Oh. Now we have the final fight of this chapter coming up.
Northtown is in go.
And this final fight... Oh, well, actually, there's a fight before the final fight, sorry. I always forget, because this fight is rather short, where you verse your brother. That is just always gonna hit you. He just locks onto you and just does that. Yep, he has great lock on for certain moves. And if you attack him while he's guarding, he counters, which is annoying. I don't know what he is doing. He's not doing anything. That's not very nice. So yeah, for his fight, you just get behind him. There are some attacks where he just will attack and you can get behind him very well, but for a lot of his moves, he just locks onto you and he does not show his back to you at all. And now this is Nine Tails. Nine Tails is a fight which can lose you a lot of time. The first phase of her fight is just you have to hit her enough. Right now she has like a shield or a barrier on where she doesn't let you do big damage to her. So I just have to hit her enough until she goes to the next part of her fight. Which is a bit annoying. I don't like how they had a phase like this before her fight. Before you can actually do damage to her. Now you can do a lot more damage to her. But she's still, like, she flies around and it's just a pain. Gonna try and do this straight away. Once she hits a certain amount of damage, she will go up like that. She is invulnerable, or she has she has her shield back on, basically. She doesn't take a lot of damage, so there's no point in trying to attack her. She spawns foxes, but for her fight, I focus on her because she is the objective you want to destroy. You want to kill her, it's her fight, not theirs. They can be annoying, and the reason why she spawns them in her fight is because they drop ammunition, And like if she's flying around, that's the only way that you can really do damage to her. That's not very nice. Yep, that can be a pain to... Also, lag. Here's the thing. It lags quite a bit when she does the fireball move. You cannot do damage to her during that. You don't want her doing that in fights. Makes it very slow. That move is very good for punishing her. She's going back up again to spawn enemies. This fight is excruciatingly frustrating casually because it's really long. Even speedrunning, it's just a pain to verse her, honestly. But we do our best. Also, yeah, Yakimaru will focus on the smaller foxes if they're close by. I thought maybe he would focus on her because I was directly looking at her, but nope, that didn't be the case. Like if they're stuck like this, yeah, like he goes for them and not her. Makes this fight a little bit hard to manage. She's coming down now, so we'll try and do more melee attacks on her. She did this move, which is the worst move that she can do. Now I want to chase her, but I also want her to stop and do an attack of some sort so I can punish her more. But she's not giving me any good... Okay, this is okay. I can do this. Okay, I did quite a bit of damage on her, so that's very good. Let me see how much... I got 36 gun bullets and 1 cannon ammo. See which way she's going to float towards. She went over here. Well, you really want her to stop because if I try and aim at her while she's moving, it's just not... It's very pointless because, yeah, she's moving. Okay, she's got really low health. This is really good. Actually going to try and aim at her. There we go. Cool. Alright, that wasn't too bad. That could have gone a lot worse. It wasn't the greatest fight, but it wasn't the worst fight either. So, it was alright. Cool. And we get our heart back from defeating her. That's nice.
In a wicked...
Now we're on to the next chapter. Chapter 5. So there are 7 chapters in total. So we're getting there. We're getting there. This chapter is in a snow setting. A mountainous, snowy area. So this first fight is a non-lethal fight. We have to defeat 40 soldiers. Yep, they're being harassing. That's not good. You can kind of tell if they are or not because of the way that they walk. But observing that can be kind of hard when there's a lot going on. They always do this strut towards you when they're ready to attack. But if they spawn really close, yeah, they're attacking as soon as they come out. They can be a real pain. My invincibility already left me. It's not very nice. I'm gonna pick up that heal there. Oh, and there's one there. That's very good. So it's not for the... Invincibility is not for the damage I take, it's for the stagger. Stagger loses time. Taking health is just whatever most of the time, unless I'm actually gonna die. But it's not good, because then I'll have to do it all over again. And yeah, one thing about this game is like if you don't make saves at the shrines, which are around the world, you have to restart the whole chapter. So in speedrunning, you don't make saves, obviously. Yeah, so We try our best and do our best. Now there's gonna be one more enemy left, which is this archer, and now he's gone. So that was 40 humanoid enemies, and now we're gonna have 100 fiends, which is a lot of enemies to have to defeat. So there's a few things I'm gonna try and do here. Now one thing about enemies that spawn is they will always want to spawn in a circumference around the player. So wherever Hyakimaru is will say where the enemies are going to be spawning. Also with these 100 enemies, like the enemy type will change after we kill a certain number of them. More different enemy types will spawn in. Also because there's a lot of enemies, it means we're going to have some lag. The good old PlayStation 2 lag. Well, not all PlayStation 2 games lag, but yeah, this one does. But, how many enemies there are. And with how they spawn in a circumference around you, I try and stay near this rock, and I try not to move much so that I know where they're going to be. Or at least have an idea of where they're going to be. No! That bird moved me away just as I said that. How evil. Yeah, lots of enemies. This is like... It can be a bit tough to do fast because it's just... So it feels a bit chaotic at times. But you guys gotta try and use your brain power as much as you can. The speed running brain power to kill all the dudes first. Any drops that happen are very much welcome. Invincibility drops are the best drops for speedrunning, so that we don't get staggered. These enemies here can charge, but if you're close to them, they won't. So we want to be close. I'm actually going to do this now. Typically I wait for the final enemies, but I just want to do it now. Also with charging enemies... Oh, they're charging at me. That's not good. Oh, the lag. Oh, the lag. It's just funny. It's okay now though. Kind of. That wasn't too bad actually. I think because I stayed where this rock is, so it wasn't too bad. Yeah, because that dictates where the enemies will spawn, where you are located. So if you try not to move that much, the enemies will kind of spawn in the same area. So yeah, this is chapter 5. The name of the chapter is Legion. Legion is going to be the final boss of this chapter. Yep. Lots of snow enemies here. The snowy mountain. In this rock, there's going to be cannon ammo. We want to give that to Hyakimaru later, so we pick that up. Cannon is one of the most powerful resources in the game, like especially just for the speedrun, and yeah. In general, it's really powerful, so whenever we can, we want to pick them up. So we come across this shrine, and Dororo is very curious, so she wants to go check it out. Oh, ancient temple. Yeah, temple. After acquiring that item, we can go down here. There's a little puzzle down here that we do.
Do we have time for a donation?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
We have $20 from Nerd Life. Hey Gala gang. Best of luck on your run. It's been so cool watching you discover and run these PS2 games. I'd like to remind everyone that you can actually put your donations towards some of our fantastic donation incentives. For example, in the very next run, Hi-Fi Rush, we have a bid war to either drop or catch Corsica. Currently, Drop Corsica is leading, but Catch Corsica has plenty of time to catch up.
Thank you, Nerd Life. Nerd Life is a friend of mine, so that's nice to hear them. So we run down here. Have to hit this gong to open the door. And what we're going to do here is equip the throwing knife. Because what we can do with the throwing knife here is use it as a platform. Typically you platform around, but you can actually just do that and jump up very fast. So that's nice to be able to do that. And we go onward. Dororo discovers these people here that have lost their faces. They've been stolen from them. So this place is called Shiranui Pass. If you've played other Japanese games like Okami, there's a setting called Shiranui. I'm pretty sure in Okami, yeah. So, yeah. Some of the places also appear in other games and literature, so that's cool. So this is Misaka. She was the sister of one of the people that we defeated in one of the previous chapters, and she's come back for revenge. But her fight is very simple. You just go behind her and whack her. But she's gonna appear not just once this time, but also 2 more times. And she progressively gets stronger. So that's not the last that we've seen of her. We're gonna see her a bit more later. We entered this shrine that Dororo had entered, and then when trying to escape, there is this boss that appears. This boss's name is Redcap. Redcap's fight is a bit annoying, and Redcap has 2 fights, but for the speedrun we're only going to do 1, because the second one is actually not required. So we're not going to do it in the run today. It's not much different from this fight. Her second fight has some more moves. But what we do for her fight is we want to be behind her, do more damage. 3 light attacks. 2 heavy attacks. She wants to run around and summon this kind of electric orb. She goes, ha ha! But we try and not let her hit us and just try and continuously keep doing damage on her. Once she gets low enough, she's gonna actually disappear like this and start spawning in little creatures. Little rats and frogs. This is really interesting because she does it several times. Typically she doesn't let you hit her that much, but she actually did there, which is interesting. And she will only spawn in once you defeat all the little things that she spawns in. Moles, rats, frogs. Now she should be low enough where she starts, she starts doing this. So when she does this, I want to use the spirit move if I can. She could spam this. She's teleported far away. This is the worst move that she can do because you can't really do damage to her during it because it's hard to just stay around her because that's an active hitbox. Just gonna have to try our best. Stop. There we go. She teleports away. And yeah, you would actually verse her again in a side boss, but we're not going to do that for the run. So that's Legion there, trapped in the ice. Dororo now has a bit of platforming that she needs to do. Platforming here can be a real pain because ice is slippery and so is snow. The platforming though is not that long, so that's okay. Before I jump, I want to make sure that I'm not moving any directional buttons, because it will make her move in ways that I don't want her to. Platforming is my weakness. I am not good or like platformers, so platforming is always my rough spot. Even though it's not that hard here, but it's still hard for me. We go up, one more, and we get there. Cool, okay. It's just that. That's all you have to do. It's just a bit rough to control. Especially with jumping. Because their movement is a lot more fluid when they're jumping. Yeah. Okay. So now we need to go find where Dororo was. So we have to travel around a bit in the snow. There's a bridge here that we need to go across. There's enemies also on the bridge that can hit you and make you fall off, so you just have to watch out for them. Especially the ones up here, because they like pretty much always attack. Yeah, like that guy always attacks. And there's another one up here that really loves to as well. That guy there. That one there. And keep running. Avoid the little rock dudes. Well, they're not really little, they're big rock dudes. Avoid them. This is Fudo Mountain. There she is again. There's Misaka again. She wants to fight again. She's a little bit tougher this time because she's a bit more aggressive and we're on ice, which makes our movement a lot harder to do. It's also a lot harder to get behind her, so you can't just wail on her like you could before. Yeah, on ice is not very nice. I never liked this fight. I never liked this fight. Because yeah, she won't stay staggered like in the first fight. Can't believe any of my hits didn't hit there, but anyway. She's done. Her third fight is also even more a pain to deal with. Okay, but we continue onward. Going up the snowy mountain. A lot of enemies that spawn in. There are these also enemies that kind of look like a pile of gloop or a pile of glue. These enemies right there, the furry ones, they will spit out ice and freeze you. So you gotta be really careful with them because they make you frozen for quite a while and will waste time if you get frozen. There's always an enemy that charges there, so we just don't want that to happen. We run around here. And now we hit this fight. So this is Thunder Fiend. Thunder Fiend is another boss fight that if it does all the wrong moves, you'll lose a lot of time. So hopefully it's not cruel to us for the marathon. It started with a very good opener. So what we're doing here is 2 light attacks and then a heavy attack while jumping. We're hoping that we can get him to not do this move, but he did this move. When he does this move, what we want to do is we want to stay in this corner because it is possible to get inside the bubble. So the bubble is actually hollow, and if you stay up against a wall or that rock or like a surface like that, you can actually get inside the bubble and do damage to him while he's doing that attack, which is pretty cool. But the bubble itself wastes a lot of time because you have to wait for him to charge it up, and it's just a pain. The other moves are a lot better to take advantage of. So we get over here, we get up, and then you can get inside. He goes over here. You don't do a lot of damage with this sword, which is really unfortunate. There is a sword drop that you can get that does a lot more damage, but I tried to go for that drop but didn't get it on this run, which is unfortunate. But we do our best with our current circumstances. Okay, he's doing this again. We go to the rock corner. First hit is okay, and then we get inside the bubble and we can do damage while he's like this. Please don't do it again. I don't like the bubble. Yep. Some fights he will only do that, and it's really painful. Well, I'm not quite inside the bubble. Especially when he jumps away like that, it's kind of an indicator that he will do it, which is annoying. Please don't do it again. Okay, that's fine. Also, those little like circle things around him, those are drums. I never knew that before, but there is an encyclopedia in the game that lists all the enemy types that I looked at not too long ago, and those are actually drums. So that's rather interesting. The enemy designs in the game are pretty cool, even though the boss fights themselves are pretty simplistic, in my opinion, by comparison to like some other action games and stuff. But the artwork is really good, and the like lore behind them and stuff is really cool. Yeah. I like that kind of stuff, it's cool. We're going to be taking a detour to the right here because there's a sword that's more powerful than this one that we want to pick up. Over the ice. So we're going from a level 23 to a level 30. And now the sword is red. So we had like an orange flame sword, now it's a more red color. Oh. And I go over this bridge because there is a cannon bullet on that bridge. Want to pick that up. More resources. And, well, particularly that cannon actually has a purpose of its own. There's a section, not even next chapter, but the chapter after that, the last chapter of the game, where I actually want to use cannon bullets. It's just kind of preparation for the end. Yep, makes it faster. So we want to keep stuff like that in mind. And on the map there, it shows where we gotta be. So these stairs here are actually quite scary because of the enemies that spawn on them. Mainly the gloop enemies, they spit out this slime that has a debuff that makes Yakimaru really slow and he can't run, which hinders his movement a lot. So you have to wait until that goes away, but thankfully we didn't get hit by it. So now we're going to verse Legion. He comes out of the ice. He's a really cool looking boss. He has all these arms and just a really cool design. All these weapons in his hands. He has a few different moves that he can do. We do 2 light attacks, 1 heavy attack while jumping. We try to stay to the right side of him so that if he does some certain attacks, we can actually strafe them. Like that one, because that comes from the right side. You want to stay on the right. I wasn't that far on the right though, so he got me. That's okay. I don't like being on the ice. The best thing that can happen in this fight is when he keeps drifting away from you and doesn't do attacks. Being on the ice is a big pain. It's better to be on the snow. Also, when you do the jumping attacks, you'll notice some of the attacks are the white flashes, which means it's like hitting a weak spot. Very good. Cool. And he is down. So he gets his nose after defeating that boss. So now he can smell
Let's
stuff.
get off this mountain.
Let's get off this mountain. Yep. That's exactly what we're going to do. So what happens when you're running down here is Dororo points out the temple here. When you go past like this.
This temple is where
This temple is where all the faceless people were. So you would be like, oh yeah, I'm going to go in that temple and help them. But in the speedrun, we're like, nah, we're going to go this way. We're just going to leave because you can. You can just leave and not help them. So that's what we're going to do. Climbing down the mountain will end the chapter. Yep, that's what we want to do. We're not going to help those people. Oh dear, the poor people. Forever faceless. Yep. So we did that. Now we're on chapter 6. Second last chapter. We're getting there. Yep. Now the fiends are noticing that their brethren are falling. So they're calling a meeting with Hyakimaru's father to tell him what's going on and be like, hey, this isn't meant to be happening. We're not meant to be dying. This isn't fair. We made a deal. So there's just going to be like some story stuff going on, especially in this chapter with that. There are all these enemies flying down, but we don't have to defeat them. They're not required enemies to kill, so we just progress onward. Now we have Misaka again, except this time she has some fiendish power with her. So she's gone to the dark side, which is very sad. So now we have to defeat her. Now, if I can see her on my screen, that would be great. Oh dear. She's a lot more aggressive on this fight too. But yeah, we defeat her. It shows that because of her grief from the brother that we defeated, because he was a bad guy, she wanted to get revenge on Hyakimaru, and through her grief, she turned to the dark side of using fiends and demonic stuff, which is very sad. She didn't need to do that. But grief makes you do some stuff, you know? Yeah. Anyway, so now we're in this cursed forest, and it is a bit cursed in that casually you get lost here a lot. You go through the different ways and you will get lost because everything kind of looks the same. But for the speedrun, I know exactly where to go to progress. Just a few loading screens that are gotta happen. So because of the disc that I'm currently using for this run, I've been getting a consistent crash on a certain loading screen after a cutscene that's coming up. So I'm actually going to do a save and then reload. I don't know why I've been getting it, but saving and reload prevents the crash from happening. But on this disc that I've had to use for the marathon, I'm going to have to just do that. It loses a bit of time RTA, but it makes sure that I don't have to restart the whole run. So I'm gonna have to do. So we go here. This is a save point. We save. Look at all my saves. We save there. Now saving. Okay, exit. Then we go away from the save and I can quit out. Quit! Yes, yes. I made a save, so we'll be okay. Then I'm gonna load back in and everything will be nice. I'm not quite sure why the crash happens. I've had some speculations on why it happens, but not entirely sure why. Yeah. But reloading fixes it, like it doesn't happen, so... At least I can still do my marathon runs. That's good. So yeah, it loses about a minute RTA, which isn't that bad. It's okay. You just have to do what you gotta do sometimes. So yeah, the crash would usually happen after that cutscene on this load, but because I did the reload, it will be fine now. Yeah, see, it's fine. Everything is good. We go in here, we're interrupting the meeting that's taking place with Yakimaru's father and the fiends in there. Oh, actually, I don't think they're in there yet. I think, yeah, Yakimaru gets captured. I can't remember the sequence of events yet, but anyway. Yeah. So now we're playing as Dororo, and we get to hear a little bit of the story because of the dialogue that plays out.
Gyro, if you truly wish to unify this country under a peaceful regime,
Must kill this man who dares to defy
Oops.
us.
Oops, that's okay.
It's him. Yakimaru.
Yakimaru, what's wrong? Are you all right? He's being kept unconscious by magic. Father, what is Yakimaru doing here?
your father was given power in exchange for that which was dearest to
Get
him.
up there. I collected a sword. That sword is a lot more powerful.
Show yourselves!
Gonna be using that. The voice acting here is so funny in English. Like the laughing is all. It's funny.
Show yourselves!
Can you not see?
It's so goofy.
What? The eyes! They moved! Foul demons! What?
Yep. And then we finish that. We get to cut off the dialogue. Don't get to see it all. But yeah, we gotta go fast. Now this next fight is Midoro, which is a fiend horse. Now I really need the sword that Dororo is carrying, so I really need to go close to her. But she's not giving it to me. Please, Dororo. There we go. So we go from a level 30 to a level 50. So that's obviously a pretty big upgrade. Very important. He's doing charging, which is really bad because it's just really bad. This sword is just so much better than what we used to have. There's also a added... Oh, I didn't even hit there. There's an added attack combination added with this sword. You get an extra attack. Now when this boss gets low health, it starts to do this dashing, which you can actually avoid if you do enough damage, but yeah. Not today. Now he's just over there hovering around. I don't know why it did that. We just wait for it. See where it's gonna be. This is not very good luck. Okay, there we go. Now, from defeating that boss, I'm pretty sure, yeah, Hyakimaru gets his right eye. So now he actually has both of his eyes. His left and right. Now we have a lot of fiends to defeat. We have 100 again. Gonna be a lot of different enemy types that spawn here, similar to before, like the idea that, yeah, they spawn according to where you're located. So keeping an eye on where you're moving keeps an eye on where they are gonna be. So I try and get myself to be closer to walls and stuff like that. A lot of different enemy types spawn in here. There are these bugs, then there are skeletons with spears that have a little bit more health. They can guard, which is not nice. But yeah, with this sword you can do a lot more attack hits. Oh, the lag. Oh, the lag. It's just this natural thing that happens with this game because of how many enemies spawn. The PlayStation 2 is like, help, I can't do it anymore. It's okay, PS2, hang in there. We can do it. Oh, I actually got an attack pot, so Hyakimaru was glowing red, which means he's doing similar attack damage. Attack pots are actually not that uncommon in this fight, surprisingly. Flying enemies, umbrellas. Oh yes, Japanese umbrella yokai. Pretty common in games actually. If anyone's ever played Neo, there's umbrellas in that game too. These guys have quite a bit of health. Try and get behind them. Also, yeah, Dora can lose all her health, but she doesn't die. She just stays down on the floor for a while and then revives. So, she's okay. She's...
I'm done for. Sorry.
She's... Oh, yeah. It's gonna be funny because every time we go after a loading screen, she's gonna just collapse and be like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't go anymore. She's gonna do that every single time now. So that's gonna be funny. I'm done for, I'm sorry. She might actually revive now. Maybe? No? Okay, she's gonna fall over again. So we make our way back through the forest. I'm done for. Oh, plants, don't grab me. So now we're just making our way back through the forest the way that we came.
I'm done for. Sorry.
Sometimes this happens. She needs a certain amount of time before she can recover, but we're not giving her that amount of time, so she's just gonna keep flopping over.
Sorry.
Yep. Now we go down here. I want to make sure I don't get lost in this forest because then I will be very confused. Gotta make sure I go the right way because there's a lot of different ways you can go here. Cool. Okay. She keeps collapsing. So now this is Boar Fiend. This is the final boss of this mission before we exit the chapter. I wouldn't call this the main boss of the chapter though. But yeah, he can do bombs, he can summon enemies, he can jump, he can also do like a twirl with his sword. There are several different kinds of enemies he can spawn in. I don't like these enemies that he spawned in. My health is also really low, which is not good. I gotta be really careful with my health in this chapter, but I was not observing that. Yep, this is a reason why. This is a reason why. Oh, he's gonna jump. Oh, the pain. Oh, the pain. Yeah, I gotta be really careful here. I'm gonna play this safe, because if I die here, it would be very bad luck. Oh dear. So I'm playing it safe by doing jumping attacks. Typically I'm a lot more aggressive, but because my health is so low, if I die, I go back to my last checkpoint, which was quite a while away, and I don't want that happening when I'm so close to finishing the chapter. So jump attacks are okay there. Because the weak point for him is his backpack. So you see a lot of flashing. But if you do the heavy attacks with this sword on the ground, they actually do a lot of damage to him from behind, which is what I like to do. But my health was getting a little bit risky. But yeah, you get a bit of health after you defeat enemies, so bosses that is. So I can defeat this, complete this chapter with not as much risk now, so that's good. All good.
At last.
Yep, at last, we're at the final chapter now. Yay! Final chapter is a bit long. I think it's one of the longer chapters, but we're there, so that's good. There were some parts in the run that I was a bit scared of dying because it would send me back quite a bit, but none of that happened, so that's good. I'm very happy about that for the run, for the marathon. So this is chapter 7, the final chapter, and it is called Tragedy. Yeah. So we have to head to Daigo's castle, which is like a mansion that is filled with fiends and enemies and bosses and all that kind of stuff. So that's where we have to head to. This area might look familiar because this was actually an area in one of the previous chapters. We're just going around a different way. With the very ominous music. And as you can see on the map, Dororo is stuck. The little blue arrow is Dororo. She's kind of stuck. She'll probably teleport to me soon, because if she is too far away from you, she teleports. But that's just funny when she gets stuck. Because she's moving around trying to get to you. Well, she won't teleport. That's interesting. No, I think she will. Just not yet, I guess. Yep, there she is. Usually I hit those enemies because they can hit me. They hit me this time. Not very nice. Okay, we have some soldiers to defeat. So there's gonna be 30 here, but there's some of them that are set up in those, what are they called? Where the arches are up top. Watchtowers, they're in the watchtowers. These guys are being pains. Even with my strongest sword, they're still a pain. My camera is not helping me out for this at all. Camera, yeah. Very common occurrence in action games is the camera can be a bit scuffed. Because when I change the camera, it doesn't go exactly in front of him. It goes kind of like to the side a little bit. Even though it does go in front of him, but just not exactly, so it can be a bit hard to manage. You have to break these pillars so that the archers will come out of the watchtowers. We'll go to the next one. 3 spearmen spawn in. We defeat them first. Sometimes you can hit the pillars while you're versing them. And we hit the last one. It falls down, then we hit the archers. And they come. Oh, very hard to see them. Here we go. Now we have 2 archers up here, and that will be the end of this part. Yep, and there we go. Now we enter the mansion. And this is going to be the final area of the game. It's a pretty big chapter though. There's a lot of rooms and stuff to do. But yeah, it's just set in this whole big building. Now the first thing I have to do here is a bit more platforming to try and get a sword which is a lot more powerful than what I currently have. Platforming here can be a rather pain, so let's hope it will be okay today. Yay! First try, very good. So we go from level 50 to level 55. This drastically also increases our health, this sword. But it's mainly for the attack that we get it, so yeah. We just get health, it's a nice little bonus. This guy spawns in. Just hit him so he doesn't annoy me. And we go into the elevator. So there's going to be several rooms with enemies that we've seen throughout the game. This room is going to be filled with rock golems. The cannon ammo is just really good on them. This room can be a real pain to deal with because they charge. They love to charge. And I hate it when they charge. It's not nice. We're going to use this. Hopefully do a lot of damage. I don't think I did a lot though. One of the heavy attacks on this sword can actually stagger them. Like that. See how they fall over? This isn't going too bad. So now we have just this guy left. We trip him over. Very good. Almost there. Cool. Okay, so that room didn't go that bad. That can go really bad if they're all trying to charge at you. But that was pretty good. I'm happy with that. Now this room will have all different types of slime. These like little gloop dudes. As I keep defeating them, more will spawn in. So we're gonna go back. They don't actually do damage to me when they spawn in, they just stagger. There's gonna be more that spawn in. It's good how they spawn in together, because then like I can just do one attack combo that hits multiple of them. Okay, good, very good. There's 2 over here. Yep. And that's them. Now we go to the elevator. That's not the elevator. This is the elevator here. Sometimes I get a little bit confused on which way is which. Okay, very good. Now we have a bridge here that we're gonna have to go across, but we have to lift the bridge by pressing a button down below here. That gets lifted. Then we go back. Go back up, and then we hit another button that's up here, and it will change the bridge horizontally, diagonally to go the other way. There's an enemy that spawns in here. I let him spawn in so that he doesn't stagger me as he spawns in. And the reason why I hit this is because we're going to actually be on the other side after going through this door and doing some fights. So that will just prepare us for that, so I don't have to go back and do it. Going here, there's just kind of a reward of yay stuff. In that room, you don't have to do a fight, it's just a room of rewards. But this room there are enemies. And they're very annoying enemies. Because what they can do is they can go under the ground. Especially the ones that are red, they love to go underground. Try and use this to clear out some of them, but I didn't get all of them. They're quite trolly when they don't want to behave. Where is this guy? He keeps traveling underground. Oh, Dororo keeps hitting them, so they keep going underground. Stop, Dororo. Don't scare them. Where are they? There they go. Okay, there we go. Okay, now we can go through here. And now going up this elevator will put us on the other side of the bridge, where we have to go into another room. Gonna be enemies that spawn in here. I wait for them to spawn in, because otherwise they will stagger me. Don't want that happening. And we go into this room. Now this room is full of lots of spikes and flames and lots of things to get you. But we're not gonna get got. We're just gonna go here and hit the skull. What happens when you hit the skull is that one of the floors caves in, which is the objective of where we want to go. That was in a previous room. So we're gonna go back there. Run across, and well, Dororo didn't even move. She didn't even want to go in the scary spiky room. She just stayed in the elevator. She didn't even try. She was just like, yep, you go do that. I'm gonna wait here. Run past him. Now we go to the floor that caved in. be back this way.
Dororo!
Oh yeah, this is how you communicate with her, and then you can tell her like what you want her to be doing,
Dororo!
like that. I just wanted to show that. Just wanted to show that off. It's pretty cute. So yeah, the floor is here. Ta-da! Very good. Now we get. Now we hear these people crying out for help. So, we're gonna have to go and help them. Yep, that's what we're gonna have to do. So Dororo is gonna go and find where these imprisoned villagers are to save them. We hear them calling out once we... Help! Yep, they're crying out for help. Try and go past these guys. They hit me a little bit. Now coming up is one of the most annoying bosses of the game. This is only like a little encounter you have with them and then you actually fight them later. This is the only boss that Dororo faces on her own. And it's an enemy, alright? So this is like a cow on wheels. Their name is Dragon Tank. What we're going to do is we're going to pick up these bombs and then lock onto them, and we have to try and hit them into the hole in the middle. Hopefully they'll stop for a minute and let me hit them. There we go. Someone told me recently that this is kind of like a Looney Tunes like sound effect, and now I can't unhear that. It is like a Looney Tunes sound effect. Looney Tunes part. I'm gonna pick up more bombs here. Make sure that my supply of bombs is full because this is what we're gonna use to defeat them later. We go down here. Find the prison. And we need to save the imprisoned villagers, but before we do that we have some fiends that we need to defeat with the bombs that we have. There's one here. One here. One here. They just get one shot by these bombs, so that's nice. There'll be some here. Hope they come in. Give him 2 because he didn't die from 1. It is possible for him to die from 1, but depends. Jump over that. Give him a bomb. Then we throw this one. She's... Yep, okay, that's fine. Keep going. And progress onward. Now here she's gonna lockpick the doors and save the villagers.
Thank you for everything.
And they say thank you for everything every time. Even if there's multiple of them, there's just one voice
Thank you for everything.
that says thank you for everything. Every time.
Thank you for everything. Thank you for everything.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything.
And then one more.
Thank you for everything.
And that's every time. Yeah, that's funny. All the same voice. They all have the same voice. So now we have to verse the dragon tank because he's going to be coming out of this wall here. And this is the only part in the game where you have to run. How do I know this? Because when I played this for the first time, I didn't even know that you could run. So I didn't know how to do that part, and then I had to Google it and figured out, oh, you can run in the game. So Yeah, that's the only part of the game that you have to run. Just a little trivia. Because running in the game is pressing down the joystick. So it's not just like pressing down a button and you run. It's the joystick, which is something I didn't know you could do. Yep. Now for this fight, we want to just throw bombs on the backside. Jumping and throwing bombs does more damage. That was really good. Cool. Sometimes he can travel around a lot and the bombs don't hit him, but that was good. So after defeating that fiend, Hyakimaru gets his teeth. Gets his teeth back.
Do we have time for some donations?
Yes, we do.
So I have $10 from Club Who that says, thank you for everything. And I have $20 from Noobs that says, thank you for everything. Money to Softman Cricket.
Oh, soft man. Good.
We also have $20 from Yogo that says, thank you, Gala. It's not thank you for everything, sadly. Thank you, Gala. Please put this towards FFX2 singing duet. Thanks, fellas, for the Kickin' fundraiser.
Thank you. Thank you for everything, tech team.
Yeah, thank you for everything.
So this fight is kind of like a silhouette fight. Kind of makes you go sideways and you just see the silhouettes of the enemies, which can be a bit of a pain because this is not 2D. This is like 2.5D. So it's easy to not hit them. So there's 10 enemies here, 5 for each screen. There's 8, now we got 2 more. If I can see where they are. I cannot see where he is. Like, yeah, this is what happens. Because it's not just flat. It's actually got a 3D, yeah. Anyway, there we go. That's cleared. Yay! So the next boss is actually kind of a reskin of one of the earlier bosses, Ogress, except now she's going to be green and really fast. So she kind of got Shrekified. Kind of. Or Hulkified. Probably Hulkified would be a better word for it. Yeah, 'cause she's much stronger too. But we are also much stronger as well. We have a good sword that's really good at staggering, so hopefully we can do her fight fast, but she can be a really big pain and fly around a lot. She's one of the bosses that I have a lot of time save on my PB because she just flies around and you can't reach her. And yeah, she can be really mean, so we're just going to try our best. That's all you can do, is try your best. She has this big green arena. So we have a 6-hit combo that we can do now. She's going to fly up. When she's like this, I can stagger her with a cannon bullet, which I have. She's flying, which is not nice because she kind of doesn't know what she wants to do when she flies most of the time. She's going up again. That's not nice. Hit her with a cannon. Hopefully she'll come down. She did not come down. I can't stagger her with that. I hope that she comes down now. Good. Please don't. Yeah, she's all... Sometimes her AI is just a really big wacky. But if she stays near the floor, she's very good. Please don't go up. Please come down. She sometimes will also go there and do a laser. She's being very slow today for the marathon, so that's a bit sad. Can you come back here, please, ma'am? Please? Please? Okay. go. And then she just falls down like a pancake. Last sound of her. And we get our lungs after defeating her. Now we can go through this door and progress onwards. So there's some enemies we need to defeat in these doorways to be able to go forward. My final hit of this combo is not hitting them, which is not very nice. Hit him there. Hit him. Very good. Very good. Get him. Now next one. The dog doesn't have a lot of health, so I don't have to do a full combination attack with him. Now we can go through here. Gonna be some pots here for some items. I particularly want the cannon ammo. That's the main thing I wanted to pick up there. And now we have the next boss coming up, which is gonna be Snake Eyes. We find out that he was actually working for the Fiends. So he's not a very good guy. We're gonna verse him here. Surrounding his arena, there are these like little dragon heads that spit out fire, so I really don't want him to be around the outskirts of the arena because it's gonna be a real pain to verse him. But he loves to zip around the arena. Like that. He also has a lot more moves in this fight compared to when we first met him. When he falls over, I can't do damage to him, which is a bit of a pain. He gains invulnerability during that. Zipping around is not very nice. Mainly the last move of the combo does the most damage to him, which is what I want to be hitting him with. And I always do jump attacks while moving, because if it does hit him, that's a little bit of progress towards getting faster. So I always try. We need him to get closer to us. He hasn't given me the worst move that he can do, which is where he fires up like a flaming wheel, which takes forever to cue in or like to happen. And you just have to wait until that move is over. Thankfully he hasn't done that fight, so that fight wasn't that bad. Thankfully. Cool. Quite a few load screens here. It's not that uncommon with PlayStation 2 games. They needed a lot of load screens to load stuff here. Yeah, but it doesn't feel like that when you play casually because there's lots of cutscenes, so you just kind of, it's just whatever. But when you're going fast, you notice it more how many load screens there are. More enemies to defeat here. They're all skeleton soldiers. Try and get behind them. They're very fast if you can't get behind them in time. Oh dear, that's okay. Come here, you. There you guys. Just have a bit of running around out here. We're kind of like on a outdoor bridge part outside the mansion. These like, what are they called? They're kind of like crossbows, but they're not. They try and aim at you, but you can actually just run behind them. You can just run behind them and they can't get you. So that's alright. They're like, oh, we're gonna get you, but they can't get you. Now, as soon as the camera changes, I know that's when I have to go down. And then we go this way. So there are enemies that spawn in, but they spawn in right in front of where you can shoot arrows on them if you step on the pressure plate. So that's what we do. However, sometimes it doesn't always hit them, so I thankfully always keep some cannon bullets on me, just in case if that happens. Now we can progress onward. These soldiers want to run at you, so we always go from right to left. And now this is the final mob fight, and then we have 2 final bosses after this. And then that will be our run finished. Yay! Very good. So we have 20 soldiers that we need to defeat here. Got some archers up here. Oh dear. Defeat them. Also keeping an eye out on like where they spawn, because yeah, like where you are, they want to spawn according to where you are located. Over here, there's one there. Oh dear. Lots of spearmen spawning in. We have this guy here, 2 of them here. More enemies with spears spawning in. Then we have 2 enemies up here, which are the 2 archers. And that's everyone. Cool. So now we're going to have 2 final bosses. And then that will be the end of our any percent run. Yay. Cool. We go up here. Very evil. So the first of the final bosses is Chimera. The weak point of Chimera is the head, so I want to try and hit the head. He did this move, which is the worst move because can't get his head. But you want to stagger him like that. That's not a very good move. Very good. That was a good fight. Cool. Okay, so we defeated him, keeping in front of their face where he staggers, so that he doesn't get a chance to do any of his nasty moves. And now we have the final boss fight, which is Tahomaru, which is actually Hyakimaru's younger brother. To save Dororo from getting possessed by a fiend, he went in front of her, and now he is possessed by a fiend, and we have to defeat him, which is very sad, but we have to do it. Now Tahomaru can be a bit rough. This is a move where you can't do damage to him. Want to keep close, get these attacks out. He can move around a lot, especially when he gets low enough health, he'll start teleporting. I always want to make sure I double jump because a single jump is not enough to avoid his attacks. He gets staggered. But he's going to start getting a bit faster now since he's losing quite a bit of health. And he's probably going to start teleporting as well soon. We're kind of harassing him in the corner here, which is really good. He's doing this move, which means that he's invulnerable. Time will be when I defeat him, when all his health is removed. I'll call it out when that happens. It looks like it might be soon, which is really good. Oh, well, maybe. Oh, he's teleporting. And time! Woo! Yay! That was a good fight. That was nice. And that's the end of any percent. So there's actually 2 endings in the game. But for any percent, you get this ending where Tahomaru dies and he cries. It's very sad.
Tears. I have tears.
Yeah. In the All Fiends run, where you get all your body parts, there's a completely different ending. But yeah. Thank you so much for having me for this run. This game is really good. The story of this game is really good. I recommend giving it a try if you ever have the opportunity. There's a lot of adventure and exploring to do in the game. And the characters are all very lovable and yeah. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah.
Not by force.
Well done, Gala. That was a fantastic run. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I have never seen that game before, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching that. We do have one final donation for you as well. We have a $10 donation from Random Windchimer, who says, "You're doing great, Gala," and I agree, you did do great. We're going to go into just a short break while we prepare for the next run. But in the meantime, I would like to remind everyone that if you are donating from within Australia, you can go into the running to win a number of fantastic prizes. We are giving away so these prizes include an Elgato Streamer Pack, which consists of an Elgato Stream Deck Mark II and a Wave 3 microphone. We're also giving away plenty of games, including 3 physical copies of Sonic Origins Plus, provided by 5 Star Games, 5 digital copies of Heavenly Bodies by 2 Point Interactive, and 3 digital copies of Speaking Simulator by Affable Games. To enter into the pool for all these prizes, a minimum donation of $100 is required, but even as little as $5 can see you winning one of these games. For more information and full terms and conditions, make sure to visit prizes.ausspeedruns.com. And we'd like to thank Elgato, 5 Star Games, 2 Point Interactive, and Affable Games for providing these wonderful prizes.
Host is faint. I don't think so. Hi, I'm Noob. I'm talking properly now. Yeah, I'm taking over for hosting for a little while. I will see you in a little bit with Hi-Fi Rush when we're ready. Stay tuned. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and good night, everybody. My name is Noobs, taking over for the hosting duties for a little while. We've got Hi-Fi Rush coming up in a minute, run by Kenora, but first, we have a $20 donation from Perfect English, who says, "Good luck, Kenora!" It's all in all caps, but it's also 4 in the morning, and I don't want to yell just yet. But we're going to throw to Kenora, who's going to take us through the wonderful world of Hi-Fi Rush.